welcome to the Sister Shanice Show. If you're new to the channel, thank you so much for passing by. But don't be a stranger, please do hit the subscribe button and join us. To all the subscribers who are returning, welcome back. It's great to have you in the house. And for those of you who are new and don't know, we actually do a live every Wednesday evening, 8 p.m. GMT time on this channel. So yeah, please do join in. I'll put some links below, and these are some of the places and spaces where you can find me on social media should you wish to catch up with some of what I'm saying. So family, today's show we're going to be talking about why the whip needs to be returned to Diane Abbott. Now, some of you may already be aware the whip was actually removed from Diane Abbott by the Labour Party on the grounds that she was anti-Semitic. For those of you who know Diane Abbott, you will know that her whole life has been about campaigning against racism. So she is known to be an anti-racist campaigner. So to have her being accused of anti-Semitism and racism, it's a bit of a joke, really. It's so ironic. Anyway, this is a claim made against her that should have been investigated almost a year ago. But up until now, there has been no investigation. But she remains, without the whip, hence why it needs to be returned. So what were the comments that this Labour MP who's been in Parliament since 1987, what were the comments that she made that led to the whip being suspended for so long without even an investigation? Well, what it was, family, she dared to suggest that the Irish, the Jewish and the travellers community are not subject to racism, that they don't suffer racism. Well, this was considered to be, a racist statement. But was she right in what she said? Let's have that conversation, okay? So, first of all, I think it really depends on what your definition of racism is. If your definition of racism is the act of genocide by one race against another race, and they are of different races, then that constitutes racism. If it's an act to the detriment of a race that's been committed by another race in a position of power against that race, the subordinate race, it's an act of racism because, people are using their race and that powerful position that they have to the detriment of another race. But if you're not in a position of power, then you can't be a racist. Also, if you are of the same race, you can't be racist towards your race. You can be prejudiced and you can have your own prejudices, but you can't be racist. What does that mean? So it means, for example, if you are African and you have an issue with people from the Caribbean, it doesn't mean you're racist because you're of the same race. People who are African Caribbean are also Africans. They're of the same race. So you might have our prejudices, it might be said, but certainly not, it wouldn't constitute racism. Therefore, if the Jews, the Irish and the travellers and any other white communities are of the same race, they can't be racist towards each other because they're all white. They can have their prejudices based on religion or their clan or their tribe or their differences, but they can't be racist against each other. And I believe that's what Diane Abbott actually really meant when, she wrote that letter. So it was back in September that Diane Abbott actually launched an attack against the Labour Party leader because, it had been many months since the accusation had been made against her of racism and anti-Semitism, and yet still there'd been no investigation. And, she felt that it was really just an attempt to smear her so that she doesn't get the opportunity to be re-elected or to stand as MP for her constituency, which is Hackney, North and Stoke Newington. So she said that there is a widespread sentiment that as a black woman and someone on the left of the Labour Party, that I will not get a fair hearing from the leadership. She further said that she believes that the current Labour leadership is looking to oust her from Parliament by ensuring she cannot stand for the party. So is that what it was really all about? An attempt to oust her out and give her seat to some other lily white person? Well, it certainly seems that way because, you know, almost a year on and the complaint still hasn't been investigated. So some of you might want to go and look for the letter in the Observer. It was entitled "Racism in Britain is Not Black and White." It's far more complicated. That was the title of the letter that she wrote in the Observer that led to the backlash. And so, as I said, the Hackney North and Stoke Newington MP, you know, has, because of her different perspective on this, suffered, you know, a claim of anti-Semitism, and in no time at all she was ousted out of the party. What do I mean by in no time at all? Well, it took the Labour leader just one day to act and condemn, you know, her comments as being anti-Semitic, and said that he was outraged and that there was no place in the party for those sorts of comments, and it was totally unacceptable. Oh no, I don't hear such an outrage from him in regards to the claims of racism, the case of racism against that Frank Hester. So do we see some clear double standards there? You know, any utterance that mentions the Jews, they come down on you like a ton of bricks, even if, you know, what was said is right. I want to hear what you think. You know, what is your definition of racism? You know, can someone of the same race be racist towards each other? Or is it in it just the case of prejudices? Big differences. And we need to all be on the same page and be clear about what our definition of racism is and what we mean by racism. And, you know, if the leader of the Labour Party can be so quick to take action against Diane Abbott, don't you think he should be so quick as well to deal with this issue regarding the incitement to racial hatred utterances made by Frank Hester? He made some vile comments against MP Diane Abbott and also all black women, and we need the Labour Party leadership to be condemning it, to be calling for charges to be brought against him pending an investigation, just like they did against Diane Abbott. The police need to be involved to bring charges because he has clearly broken the law. Because is it not unlawful to incite racial hatred? It certainly was the last time I looked. And, you know, to try and trial Diane Abbott by the media and find her guilty without even having a conversation about the definition of racism, so that all of us in the entire country are clear about what we mean by racism and what we mean by prejudice, you know, is totally, totally unfair. So let's hope that Diane Abbott's whip is returned without delay, because we know how quickly the leader of the Labour Party can act when he wants to. It certainly took it away quick enough. There hasn't been an investigation. If he needs to investigate, get on with it and give her back her whip. Or is it, as she suspects, just an effort to undermine her efforts to stand again as a Labour Party MP? We're watching you. Sister Shanice, out of here for now.